Hello, YouTube, and welcome to a special one-off solo live stream from yours truly, Gary of the FPL Pubcast. So, main reason I'm live streaming today is I am on Wildcard, and what I'm going to do today is I'm going to go over the reason I've decided to pull the Wildcard. I'm going to show you my draft, why I think it's good, and hopefully you guys can criticize, you can give me suggestions, and hopefully help improve my wild card. But there are two other reasons why I am live streaming specifically tonight. Right, so I'm showing you this image. You know on Facebook when you interview on Facebook where it tells you 1 year ago today this happened, or 4 years ago today this happened. And I woke up this morning and I very, very rarely post on Facebook about FPL, but I did 7 years ago. And this was the post. This was 7 years ago. As you can tell, there's only 5 million players in the game back 7 years ago, and I once was 84 in the world. I completely forgot about that. It was only about game week 7, but I was once in the top 100 in the world. So I thought I would share that with you. But also, when I went on Facebook, it also reminded me that it was, get rid of that. It was also exactly a year today that I made my first ever video, which was, for anyone who's been around for a while, a content creator tier list. So, basically the channel is 1 year old, which is obviously very exciting. I'm also partly doing this as a sort of happy birthday, 1 year birthday to the FPL Pubcast, as it's now called, or as the channel was previously called, FPL Have a Beer. So before I have a look at my wildcard, I will quickly open the stream up and say hello to anyone who's in the chat. Hi to Hippie, hi to Swin Joy. Happy, I'm not even going to try and say that. Diwali, and happy anniversary to Gary and the co-host. Thank you so much, mate. And if I say your name wrong, I'm very, very sorry. Hi to John, FPL Sparta as well. Okay, all right. So let's go on to. So I'll go over why I've wildcarded. I'll go over my wildcard draft and how it looks. A few things, right? So when I hit the wildcard draft last night, I made a members only video, and I sent my wildcards to Trig, Andrew, Roberto, and Andrew in our WhatsApp chat, and straight away they were killing me, lads. They were and lesses. They were killing me. They were like, "What the hell are you doing? What the hell are you doing?" In terms of my draft. So I've muted the chat, guys. I've muted the chat until the podcast on Wednesday. But I do want to share my team with you guys. Hopefully you can, give me a bit more of an unbiased. I think they're basically doing mind games on me. That's basically what they're doing. Hi Genius Gamer, hi Steve. No, are you choosing your wild card or letting AI do it for you as usual? Bit of a mixture of both, Steve. No, I am definitely not copying FPL Review, because FPL Review wants me to pick Salah over Haaland. And there's absolutely no way I'm doing that. It also wants me to keep Bruno Fernandes in, and one of the reasons I'm wildcarding is to get rid of Bruno. So I will take analytics on board, but certainly no, I'm not copying it. And let's have a Predator thumbnail, yeah. Thanks and congratulations, they're all. Hi, Kevy. Hi, Tyler saying, here listening on my headphones, doing landscaping, Gary. You and above average FPL are the best. Cheers. Thank you so much, Tyler. Okay, all right. So it's actually been a decent game week for me, right? So I'm on 76 points. Obviously, we've got West Ham and Brentford to play tonight. So, there is a chance I could slip down a bit, but I think Bowen's only about 8% owned. I think, who's the other player? Paquette is even less than that, so it's unlikely to make much of a difference. So I've got a 1 million. I'm up to 1,200,000 in the world, which is my highest rank of the season. Hi, Nixie. But I've not liked my team for weeks, guys. I've not liked my team for weeks, right? So I won't read through it because I'll go over I'll tell you the players I don't want anymore. So I don't want Konza. Aston Villa, I know they've had a little bit of a recovery in the last couple of weeks, but their defence does not look good. Konza doesn't get defensive contribution points. I don't want him anymore. Then, of course, and the thing that's really pushed it is similar to Let's Talk about FPL Andy. I've got Evan Nilsson and Anderson who are both injured. So I've then got Anderson, Jakeem Anderson, who I probably would have kept, but he's injured and probably going to be injured for at least the next few game weeks. So he's got to go. Then in my midfield, Reinders obviously was taken off before. Thanks so much, Noel. Before 60 minutes, people are saying his place is now under threat. So I don't really. I mean, I wouldn't be wildcarding just to get rid of him, but I don't really want him anymore. Then we've got Elliot Anderson, Forest. Forest have obviously been rubbish. Onto their third manager of the season now. He's done okay, but they're fit, in terms of getting the defensive contribution points. But they're not, I don't want them. They've got bad fixtures. He's got to go, essentially. Then I've got Evan Nilsson, who is injured. I wanted to get rid of him anyway, but the injury just, again, he's probably going to be out for at least a couple of weeks. Hi, Harry. He's got to go. I want double Arsenal defence. Gyökeres has been a complete flop. He looks like, you always say about Haaland that he hardly touches the ball, but he doesn't need to because when he does, he scores. Gyökeres is like that, but he doesn't score goals. So I don't want him. I want Saka, and I want a double Arsenal defence. Semenyo's going to stay. Dubravka and Esteve, I'm happy enough with them as 4 millions. Senesi's going to stay. Gabriel's going to stay. Now, the other ones I want to get rid of. Sells has been useless all season. I don't want him as my main goalkeeper anymore. Indai is another one who I could have kept on the wild card. I wouldn't just be wild carding to get rid of him. But at the same time, I'm happy to get rid of him. He's not in my wild card draft. Then there's one of the contentious ones, which is Bruno Fernandes. Now, I've got rid of Bruno Fernandes, which is one of the things the other Pubcast lads are saying, you've made a mistake here, and maybe you guys will in the chat when I show you my draft in a minute. But I can't get Saka, Haaland, and Fernandes in the draft that I want. Nick's there saying, I used my wildcard this week. Be interesting to see which changes you have to mine. Yes, hopefully it will. Hopefully that's the reason I decided. I haven't done a solo live stream in pretty much 6 months now. This isn't my first, but it's always exciting when you're on wildcard, isn't it? So I thought it'd be nice to share it. So yeah, so that's what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 changes I want to make. If you've got 9 changes you want to make, I think it's time to do it. So I pulled the wild card. So just before I get on to that, FPL Nightmare tried to put me off. Right, he tried to put me off, not in a bad way, but he said, I was trying to hold out to game week 13. That's when everyone at the start of the season said they were going to wildcard, but nobody did they? Ryan is saying, I was actually thinking of buying Bruno with a part of the Salah money. Well, yeah, he could be a good pick, Reiner. I'm not denying that. Sinroy is saying there, yes, I'm running my game week wildcard with you. I have Isaac. Oh, dear, that's not a goal for a good start, is it, mate? So anyway, he said wait until game week 13, and specifically he cited Manchester City, Liverpool, Newcastle, and Man United fixture swings, right? So I had a look at this before I hit the wild card. So there is no doubt at all in game week 13, Manchester City's fixtures look great. Leeds at home, Fulham away, Sunderland at home, Crystal Palace away, West Ham at home. But I'm going to be honest, there's only 2 players that I'm going to want in the mat from Manchester City, especially going into Christmas, and that is the goalkeeper, spoilers, he's in my draft, and Haaland, right? All the rest are potentially rotation risks, especially when we get into these game weeks, 14, 15, 16, etc., when we're basically into Christmas. Hi, Kieran. So yeah, I've got 2 Manchester City in my current wildcard draft. They will remain, and I wouldn't want any in 19. Newcastle, I had a look. Now, I am a Newcastle fan, but I would not call this a fixture swing. We've got Everton away, Tottenham at home, Burnley at home, Sunderland away, and then Chelsea at home and Manchester United away. I would say that is 2, well, not difficult, but 2 semi-difficult fixtures, followed by 2 easiest fixtures, followed by 2, again, semi-difficult fixtures. So I can easily wildcard and get a Newcastle player in for one of those games. I was not going to hold my wildcard for 17 just to get Newcastle players in to play in 15 and 16, and then they might not even play again. Then Man United, again, I don't really call this a swing. The fixtures are okay, but Crystal Palace away, West Ham at home, Wolves away, Bournemouth away, Aston Villa away. They've sort of had middly fixtures all season. You know, those fixtures are fine, but it's not a swing. It's not a swing. Again, if I was going to want a Manchester United player, it would be Bruno Fernandes. And even though Bruno Fernandes is not in my draft, if I want to get him in at that stage, I easily can. So, of course, the big fixture swing and the one... So I haven't got any Liverpool in my draft. Again, a bit of spoilers there. Is Liverpool, who have obviously got West Ham away, Sunderland at home, Leeds away, Brighton at home, Tottenham away, Wolves at home. That is a brilliant fixture swing. I'm not going to deny that, right? So, yes, that is the only team that I would potentially say holding the wild card for 13 would have been worth it. But I'm wildcarding in game week 9. I've already got 1 free transfer in the bank. I could easily have saved up. I know it's always difficult to say that because, you know, you can't predict injuries, etc. But I certainly reckon I'm going to have saved up 3 or 4 transfers by then. If I really want to get Isaac or Salah in, I can do. But let's be honest, ladies and gentlemen, after seeing them play against Manchester United yesterday, are we even going to want them in our teams? I'm not sure, right? Maybe by game week 13 we can. We will want them, but, you know, if it gets to that stage, I will then get them in. Kevy saying, good time to wildcard for you. I don't rate the fixtures much, especially this season. Prefer form. Yes, it's been one of those seasons where, you know, I mean, there's 2 exceptions here in terms of Liverpool and Man City, where we can see from 13 they have got good runs, but there hasn't been that many outstanding runs. Oh, excellent. Thank you for signing up as a channel member, Sinroy. Strinjoy. RC99, they're saying, I went for a budget version of Saka and Bruno, Eze and Bumo on the wild card. Okay, fair play, mate. And Bumo's certainly doing well, but I'm not sure after Eze got taken off early with that one, so great. Noel's saying I really like Gapco for Liverpool. Yeah, I mean, if I was to get Liverpool players in game week 13, he's probably top of the list now. And then Gina's saying, Gary, think of doing wild card this game week 2. All right, so that's enough preamble. Let us get on to my wild card, and you guys can rip it apart. No, where is it? Oops. Okay. So one thing I will say is, at the minute I'm playing price rises. I didn't know if you guys know this, but I'll tell you this because I learned this yesterday. Sorry, Srinjoy. You can actually make as many transfers as you like and still play a wild card, right? So I've already taken, I think, something like 70 points worth of hits because I can still, I mean, I always knew that I could cancel it with a wild card, but Trig told me last night I can definitely do that. So I basically don't actually have to press the wild card button. I know I've said wild card active. It isn't actually active, but I've made 26 transfers. So obviously I am going to end up playing it. But the reason he said that is basically if I did want to chicken out of it at the last minute, you can press free hit instead. Which obviously means you use your free hit, but, you know, you would return to your original team. Now, I can't see that happening. I can't see me doing that. But, you know, it is worth knowing, isn't it? Because it's one of the... I've been playing for... It's my 11th season playing, and I wasn't aware of that. So anyway, so here is my draft. I'll try and zoom in a bit more. Let me see what you guys can see. Yeah, okay, so... In goal, I've got Donnarumma of Manchester City. So him and Haaland are basically going to be locked in, staying until probably Christmas, unless one of them gets injured. As I say, I can't trust anyone else in Man City apart from the goalkeeper, who we know is a world-class goalkeeper, and Haaland, who at the moment is, the most dangerous player in the league. So, I mean, they do actually have some difficult fixtures coming up. Villa, well, if I say difficult, is any fixture really difficult for Man City? Liverpool, yeah, and Newcastle. But those two players are players I'm going to want in game week 13 anyway. So they are locks. I mean, Raya, other players that could consider there. Raya's not really a consideration because I want 3 Arsenal outfield players. Yeah, Pope, maybe. He is. If I needed to scrape a bit of money, I think he's about 0.4 less. Yeah, RC Knight. Yeah. Obviously, Enzo being fit will be paramount to him coming in. So, in case anyone's listening on audio, I will read out the wildcard team before I continue going in depth. There's Donnarumma in goal. I will usually be playing 3-5-2, but for this week, because I've got 3 Crystal Palace in and they're playing against Arsenal, I'm playing a 4-4-2. So, Gabriel, Senesi, Timber, and Esteve. In midfield, Semenyo, Minter, Enzo, and Saka. Up front, Mateta and Haaland. And then on the bench for this game week, the Bravka, Sarr, Munoz, and Guay. So yeah, the 2 Arsenal defenders. One of the reasons I have wildcarded is to get rid of Gyökeres. He was a mistake, in my opinion. Get Saka in and switch to double at the back. Because the other thing is, I was planning to get 3 Arsenal in, and when Evan Nilsson's out and Anderson out, it gets to the stage where you have to start prioritising injured players for your transfers, and you can't get ahead. So I just wanted to get ahead early by making those transfers. And obviously, they have very good fixtures coming up over the next 4. Crystal Palace at home, Burnley away, Sunderland away, Tottenham at home. And they get a little bit more difficult, but they're not terrible. So I would probably imagine Saka maybe coming out in 13 and going to Bruno Fernandes, because I think I do need a plan to possibly get him back in. But I much prefer to have Saka over... Bruno is the one that I'm probably regretting not having in. But I'd much prefer Saka over those 4 than Bruno's next 4. And of course, Bruno is also about $1 million cheaper, so he's much easier to get back in. And then Saka. Then I've got... This may be a little bit biased. I mean, obviously, Dubravka as a 4 million goalkeeper, he is the best 4 million goalkeeper. Is he the only starting 4 million goalkeeper, maybe? So he had to stay in. Esteve may be a nostalgia pick now. Not even a nostalgia pick. A bit of bias because he's done so well for me when I've used him this season. I guess you could go for one of the Leeds defenders or something instead. But I'm happy. He's done me well. He's been loyal to me. Gents and ladies, I'm going to stick loyal to him. Swinjoy saying FPL sets a limit of 20 transfers in a game week. Mind that even if experimenting. Really? I didn't know that's Swinjoy. If that's true, then I'll obviously have to hit the wild card when I reach that limit. Shanley saying any interest for Calafiori instead of Timber? Not. Yeah, I mean, Frigg has actually said to me he thinks I should put him Calafiori over Timber. I just think Timber is slightly more likely to stay playing, basically. And he's got higher ownership, so when he clicks off. But then a Calafiori is 2.2. It could easily be either of those, basically. They're very much of a muchness, if you know what I mean. But he is 0.2 million cheaper as well, so he may come in. Major, I'll come to your comment in a minute, mate. So in the midfield, now maybe I am going a bit cheap in the midfield. Let me know if you think, right? Semenyo obviously is a complete lock. I mean, I didn't get him in that early, but I've had him in for 3 or 4 weeks now. He's going nowhere. Saka, who I've already talked about. Then Enzo. Obviously, this is evening stew. This is with the if he's fit, because again they have some very nice fixtures coming up. Very nice fixtures. So I didn't actually realise this until I was doing my members only video the other day. Sunderland at home, Spurs away, Wolves at home, Burnley away, Arsenal at home, which is obviously not great, but then Leeds away and Bournemouth away. So really, really good fixtures. I mean, and with Palmer probably out for, a month or so with him being on penalties. He's an absolute lock. Assuming he's fit for this game week. And even if he isn't, I could maybe bench him or something. So then I'll go. So those are all pretty much locks in the team, right? Minter and Sarr aren't, right? So I'll go over the other locks in the team, and then I'll talk a little bit about Minter or Sarr, because I see there's a few questions in the chat about them. So Haaland is obviously a lock. He's probably going to be my captain most game weeks between now and Christmas. I'm not saying every game week, but most game weeks. Mateta obviously has just come off. You could say it is a little bit of reaction, an immediate reaction to the fact he scored a hat-trick. But he's a good player. He had a good record last season. I can't remember how many goals he's got. Was it like 15 or something? He's ticked along this season. I had him earlier in the season. I actually regretted selling him over Evan Nielsen. So he's there. Goo, however you say, the Chelsea player. Trig keeps saying he thinks he might get minutes. I'm not sure if he will, but whatever. He's the 8th attacker to give myself money elsewhere. So these are the three. So I'll say who's locked, right? So Donnarumma's locked. No, actually, Donnarumma's not locked, but he's fairly locked. But he could come out, but only if I need a bit of extra money. Gabriel. Timber may not be locked, but another Arsenal, a Arsenal defender. There will be 2 Arsenal defenders there. Senesi is probably a lock because how well he's done. Esteve, it doesn't really matter. Semenyo's a lock. Enzo's a lock as long as he's fit. Saka's a lock as long as he's fit, as are Mateta and Haaland. The players that could be changed around are, or maybe Senesi could be changed as well, but Minter, Sarr, and Munoz. So I will get to the questions in the chat in a minute. But Minter, the main reason I've got him in is he's got a very, very good. Well, it's not a very good. It's a good run that keeps going basically until we get the. Obviously, we have to bear in mind as well. We get the 5 free extra transfers in game week 16 or 17, which is another reason why I'm. It seems pointless in some ways to hold out till 13. When in 4 game weeks after 13, I'm going to have 5 free transfers anyway. He's got some nice fixtures between now and Christmas. And he's only, is he 6 million, I think? Yeah, he's only 6 million. I couldn't really find many better players for 6 million. I mean, maybe you could say Reinders or one of those still, if you believe he's going to keep his place. Sarr is similar, right? So Crystal Palace have amazing fixtures, absolutely amazing fixtures. There's not many greens in there, but a lot of home fixtures and a lot of players, a lot of teams that I fancy them to do well against. So the one exception to that is obviously Arsenal away this week. But then you've got Brentford home, Brighton home, Wolves away, Man United at home, Burnley away, and Fulham away. That's a really nice run. And again, that pretty much leads in to when we get the 5 free extra transfers. Now, Triggs made a criticism of this wild card, apart from not having Bruno Fernandes, is he thinks I've gone far too heavy on Crystal Palace. And I don't think that's even because they've got Arsenal this game week, because obviously I can bench 2 of them, which I've done. But I think it's more that he's worried that the European football is really going to take it out of them. And, because of that, maybe I should. I don't think he's against me having Mateta, but I think he thinks, and you let me know what you think in the chat, basically they're going to get too knackered over the, obviously Christmas is a very congested period anyway, but then when you've got European football on top of that, it's an awful lot of work. So, I mean, I like Zaha as a player. Minoz is obviously brilliant. Did well at the weekend. Didn't he? I think he got a couple of assists. So, yeah. Those are sort of the areas that are open for discussion. Let's have a look at what you guys are saying in the chat. I don't like Minter right now. Srinjoy is saying the lads above average FPL pointing out the game week 12 is a better entry for him. Okay. Major is also saying Minter over in Die. So I'm getting the feeling there's not much love for Minter in the attack. Let's have a look at Ndie's fixtures. I mean, Andrew thinks I should keep Ndie as well. So they've got Spurs at home, Sunderland away, Fulham at home, Man United away, Newcastle at home. Yeah, I'd say it's a little bit more difficult than Brighton's fixtures, but it's not a lot. It's not a lot more difficult. So possibly the key is if they were the same amount of money, I probably would have Ndie, but he is 0.5 million more. But yeah, that's definitely food for thought. Hippie is saying Saliba is starting price and low ownership. Yeah, I got. I'm fairly sure I got Gabriel in at 6. What is Saliba? Saliba is 6 million. Yes, it's not that great a saving, and I'd prefer Timber over him. And as I say, I've already got a couple of .million tied up in Gabriel. Kevin's saying I think you can go that Senesi. Also, don't see a clean sheet in the next few. Yeah, possibly. He is one. I mean, again, the thing with him is based on the fixtures. I would probably have. Let's have a look at Bournemouth fixtures. They're not great at all. Well, 3 very difficult ones and then 3 very nice ones. Well, 2 difficult ones. Nottingham Forest at home. It's not that bad. Nottingham Forest at home. Man City away, which is obviously bad. But then Villa away, which is okay. And then West Ham, Sunderland, Everton, Chelsea, Man United and Burnley. So again, going up towards game week 16, when a lot of these players can be changed, he's okay. I mean, again, what I would say is I would probably prefer, if I could afford it, somebody like Tarkowski over Senesi. But the thing with Senesi is I had him in at, I think I got him when he was like 4.6 or something. So in terms of how he's budgeted into my team, he's basically a 4.5 million defender in how much he costs. And I don't think there's a better there's better maybe 5 million, 5.5 million, but I don't think there's a better 4.5 million defender. Let me know in the chat if you think I'm wrong. Sindroy is saying, just saying, when people went for Evan Nilsson is beyond my understanding. Yeah, I probably need to go back and give myself a lobotomy, mate. If I'm honest. Andrew's also saying he hates the men to pick. Swinger saying I bought in Paqueta on my wildcard for transitioning to Minter in game week 12. Yeah, the thing is, when it's only 3 game weeks away, I don't really want to. You know, if it was a big player, like switching, I know you can't do this because they're not actually playing in the same positions. But if it's switching like Salah to Haaland, I don't mind booking in a transfer like that. But when it's just switching, 2 6 million-ish midfielders around, doesn't really seem worth it to me to book that in when it's only in 3 game weeks time to enjoy, if you get what I mean. Reiner is saying, why did you go for Burnley defender for you 4 million? They still look like the worst of the promoted clubs. Yeah, you're probably right, Reiner. Sensible pick is probably a Leeds defender. It's just if you followed my season so far on the normal episode of the Pubcast, I think I played him twice, and both times he kept a clean sheet for me. And I also used him on my bench boost, and he got like 4 for me on that as well. Now, I know that's not a good reason to keep him. It's, biased or whatever, but just for now, he's in there. He may well come out, though. But I do agree with you logically, particularly when I've also got the Burnley goalkeeper as well. He's been saying Burnley just beat Leeds 2-0. Yep, that's true. Joel says, thoughts on Man United attackers? Oh, I don't know. I mean, Bruno Fernandes, definitely. As I said earlier on, he is the one player that I sort of feel uncomfortable with, particularly as I already had him in my team. When you take a player out that you think might do well, it always feels a bit uncomfortable, doesn't it? So Fernandes, I think, is a fine pick. Burmo is doing pretty well. Outside of those two, Cunha's not really. I mean, he looks okay, but he's not hit. He's not really started firing yet, has he? So yeah, outside of those two, just generally, I wouldn't be interested. But yeah, certainly Fernandes, I may regret. He's the one that, when next game week passes and everyone's played, he's the one that, he's the one that I think may make me regret wildcarding the most or not having him in here. Presley saying, would you consider Chelsea defender, Gary? Maybe. I just don't know which one. I mean, who's actually even fit for them at the moment? I mean, I have to look. Maybe instead of Munoz, possibly. I mean, there's no 4.5 million defenders, so I'm not going to get him in over Senesi. I'm not going to bring him in over an Arsenal defender. I guess I would maybe consider them a Chelsea defender based on their fixtures instead of Munoz. I just wouldn't really know which one to get. Niall. Too much fund in goalkeeper and defence. Well, how would you spread it out, Swinjoy, then? Colin, Sneaky, didn't realise you were streaming. Yeah, I only decided to I literally set this entire stream up, including making the thumbnail, in half an hour, Colin. It's partly because it's the channel's birthday and I just wanted to do a solo stream. It's been quite a while. Have Nick, Andrew, Darius helped you with your wildcard? No, Colin, not at all. Not at all. I sent them a screenshot of it yesterday about 10 o'clock once I had sort of put my draft together, and they were winding me up. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? And the difficulty is you don't know how much of it's mind games. When you're I love the lads, but we all do have a bit of a competitive nature about us. You don't know. Some of the comments, I'm like, okay, that's a constructive comment. And I'm like, you're talking nonsense there. So I don't know how much of it. Obviously, to have proper mind games, you need to give people good feedback so they believe you, but you also need to give them like negative feedback to mess them up. So yeah, so I'm not too sure. Andrew, I mean, he can tell me when he watches this back. I'm sure he'll leave it in the comments. I don't think he thinks I should have wildcarded at all. Trig thinks I should have less Crystal Palace because of Europe, and probably I shouldn't have got rid of Fernandes. I mean, obviously I can get Fernandes back in again if I want to. I'm on a wildcard. Darius, I'm not going to listen to his advice because he literally tells me every single week to wildcard. So yeah, he'll probably tell me to bring in Foden captain or something. Joel says Reece James over Munoz. That is a bold call, mate. That is a bold call. And Srinjoy also agreed. I am not going near Reece James. He will get injured as soon as I touch him. I know it is a stereotype to say that, but it's a stereotype. It's for a reason. He literally has got injured every time I bought him in. Yes, no. If I was to go for someone, it probably a Chelsea offender. It probably would be Caliber. I did see another point up here, which was Robert says, "Why not go to Croupier for Gooey save a Chelsea spot?" Yeah, maybe, mate. I hadn't thought of that. I mean, the reason I've got Gooey in is I actually think long term he'll get more minutes than De Croupier. I mean, obviously, Croupier Jr. is going to get some minutes, well, maybe even start while Evan Nilsson's out. We don't know how long Evan Nilsson's out for. Could only be a couple of weeks. And I think Gooey has the potential to get more minutes long term. Trigger keeps saying Chelsea should play him as a number 9 with Pedro behind him. I don't know whether they'll do that or not. And also, he's 0.2 million cheaper. But yeah, you do make a point that he is sort of wasting a Chelsea spot. Minotti's class, stupidly took him out 2 weeks ago. Yeah, I mean, tell me in the chat, what do you think? Do you think Free Crystal Palace is OTT? Actually, I know what I'll do. I'll do one of my polls. How many Crystal Palace? And again, so the context of this is the Trigger, I'm not allowed to call him that, the man formerly known as Trigger Lips, believes that they're gonna no hippie. I've not got any no Andersons at all. I am now an Anderson free zone. So the context is that they're going to be two. Excuse me. They're going to be too knackered in Europe. Yeah. So how many Crystal Palace is sensible? Let me close that. Minoz's class. I'd say 98% of his playing games are the 2 a day. Yeah, quite possibly, quite possibly. Kieran there is saying, refreshing to see a wild card without money spent on free strikers. Is that unusual, do you think, Kieran? I mean, to me, there's just not the value in the strikers. I mean, to be honest with you, it's hard to find value in midfield either. I mean, one suggestion Nightmare did have to me was to go for a back 4 or a back 5. I'm not. I don't think I'll do it, but I'm not. Based on how the season's gone so far with DEFCONs, etc., possibly not actually a bad idea. I just can't see myself actually rocking a 5 at the 4 or 5 at the back. 4 at the back for the odd week is fine, but not to aim to have that consistently. Jemima there is saying, I'll have 3, but next game week, Arsenal is not a good fixture. Yeah, I completely agree, Jemima, but the thing is, I don't like booking in transfers on the wild card. So, I'm benching Munoz and Sarr. But yeah, it's not ideal. It's obviously not ideal this week. So just saying, I agree with Trig that Gouet is a gem, but Maresca doesn't see that. Yeah, quite possibly. I will not agree or disagree with any comments about Chelsea because obviously Trig knows a million times more about them than I do. Robert saying, I'm with you all the way with Triple Palace. Excellent. I have Mateta, Munoz, and bring in Sarr in next week. So you obviously don't feel then that it's they're going to get knackered out because of Europe, Robert. China 1000 saying Palace XG is insane. Having 3 is the way to go. Well, I agree, China. It's positive. You're in the background there that somewhere, Trig. I'm sure he's not because actually he's just texted me. No, he's making his video. That's why he's not here. See if he slags off my wildcard in his video later. Yeah, I think so. I mean, apparently Mateta actually underscored his XG this game week. Apparently, he actually could have had, I think he was on about 3.5 XG and only scored 3. So, yeah. And I did actually think maybe of going for Lacroix. Lacroix, I can say it now, Trig's not here. Instead of Munoz, just because he's so solid. Can't really, because of the DEFCONs, but I can't really do that, can I, chat? He's boring compared to Munoz, isn't he? Niles saying I'd probably go with Munoz and Mateta and bring in Dye over Star. Yeah, possibly. That's a close call. No, yeah, that's one of the three positions that's not. I'm getting consistent feedback now from Nightmare and a few people in the chat saying in Dye, so I think I will have a look at that one. Kieran's saying, yeah, agreed. I've been 5 or 4 at the back all season. You're having a very good season, Kieran, aren't you? I saw earlier on you scored, what was it, 97 points this week. Do go and check out the FPL Double Pivot, by the way. One of our sister channels that Kieran hosts with Shane. Combe is saying the only problem with Free Palace defence is just a what if, etc. It's how they feel at the end of the day. Yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, it could be that they're absolutely knackered and get thrashed one week, and then you think, oh, why the hell did I go with those 3 when I know they're on Wildcard? When I know they're in Europe, I don't know. It's just they're just exciting. It's just exciting. I think there is a bit of a bias in here. I mean, apart from Senesi, there isn't really a DEFCON pick in here. I know some of them can pick up DEFCONs, but there isn't anyone in here apart from Senesi who is mainly a DEFCON type player. I think I quite like that. And I will always love you, Gary. Well, I hope so. I hope he's not that upset about me getting rid of him, hippie. It's Marcelo when we need him, indeed. China's saying, love this World Cup. Noz and Timber will be great to watch. Yeah, that's partly it, isn't it? It's... I mean, I know I've debated on the podcast with, I know Darius D, and it's very much against the DEFCON daddies, as Nightmare calls them, whereas I don't know if Andrew loves them, but certainly he's put a lot of argument into how important DEFCONs are. I'm sort of neutral with them, but I do want attacking players. You know what I mean? I'm happy to have DEFCON players in if they are scoring consistently like Senesi has been, but I'd much prefer someone who can get me an assist or something. I mean, obviously the ideal thing is you get someone who can assist and get DEFCONs, like Gabriel seems to be at the minute, but obviously he's 6.2 million. Robert there saying Palace's next 2 European games are at home, so not travelling. Okay, that's good. Good to know. Stranger was saying Nuno benched the off. Crazy, yeah. Well, a lot of FPL owners won't be very happy with that. Steven saying very safe wildcard, no risky picks. Who could haul? Too worried about your rank. Be brave like Darius. Well, tell me what to do, Steven. Shall I get Foden in and captain him? Is that what I should do? That's the sort of thing Darius would do. I mean, Darius has actually said he's going to put a wildcard draft for me together for me to have a look at maybe on the Pubcast on Wednesday. Yeah. Okay, everyone. Before we go, let's just have a quick look at how it looks going forward. So here, FPL team is brilliant for doing this. I mean, I haven't put together my actual team, but look at this. Following week, Gabriel and Timber have got Burnley at home. I can play Munoz at home to Brentford, and then I've got. Well, it's always going to be the same. It's always going to be the same front 5, isn't it? I mean, look at that. That looks really nice. I know Semenyo's away to Man City, but that looks really nice. And the following week, again, back 4 have got Gabriel, Sunderland away, Munoz, Brighton at home, Timber, Sunderland away. Look at the midfield there. So with Brighton at home. Saka with Sunderland away. Semenyo with Sunderland. Aston Villa away. Minto Crystal Palace at home. Enzo Wolves at home. Mateta Brighton at home. And then Liverpool. I don't know if Haaland will be my captain, but Haaland at Liverpool. And it just goes on. It goes on. Following game week, I'd have to mess around my defence a little bit. But stick Senesi in there. Senesi West Ham at home. Manoj Wolves away. Gabriel Tottenham at home. Star Wolves at home. Away, sorry. Saka Tottenham at home. West Ham. Semenyo at home. Semenyo West Ham at home. Minter Brentford at home. Burnley. Sorry, my brain has gone here. Enzo Burnley away. Mateta Wolves away. And Haaland away to Newcastle. So it looks really good, and by that stage, I'm going to have potentially 5 free transfers. And then 5 weeks after that, that's game week 12, we get given 5 free transfers. So even if it all goes wrong, it's not like I'm stuck with these players. Do you know what I mean? So just have a quick look at the poll. So how many Crystal Palace players is sensible? 0 equals 0%. Probably because of Mateta's hat-trick at the weekend. 1 equals 10%. 2 equals 54%. And 3 equals 36%. That's pretty encouraging for my triple Crystal Palace. Sindra is saying Captain Savinho the hedge against Gareth. He probably would captain Savinho. Okay, I think I'm going to wrap up there. This was just a little bit of a special one because it's the channel's birthday. I'd just like to say it's a little bit cheesy, but thank you so much to everyone. Thank you so much, Paul Van Rensburg there. Sorry if I butchered your name, mate. He was the first ever member of the channel. Thank you so much to everyone who's watched and subscribed over the years. Obviously, I would not be doing this if it was not for you guys. Also, to everyone who came on the interview series and all the podcast lads who come on with me every week, especially Trig. This week on the Pubcast, we have got FPL Nightmare on for the first Pubcast episode in about, I think it's about nearly 8 weeks since he's been on. Doesn't feel like it because I talk to him every day, but and Nathan Bacon, who I believe is currently the #1 rated content creator in the world. At least he was a few weeks ago. So please do join us at 6 o'clock on Wednesday for that. Have a good evening, particularly if you've got players in the West Ham Brentford match. Yeah, thanks, Colin. Please do like, please do subscribe, please do join us.